It's prediction time again, and this year I'm not doing it 15 minutes before the first race. We will be going over the definitive driver standings, constructors predictions, and some other special things that will definitely happen in 2025. Starting with the constructors, 10th place is unfortunately going to be Sauber once again. They are still transitioning from Sauber into Audi, and that will come to fruition next year, but for now, they're still going to be pretty bad. I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year because they've got a better lineup now, and also they started to close up at the end. But I do think they're still going to be the worst team out of all 10. In 9th place, we've got a big dropper in the form of VCarb. They're going to be worse than last year. In 2024, they at least had an experienced driver in Daniel Ricciardo who could help development, but now they've got Yuki Tsunoda and Isaac Hadjar. I'm sorry, none of those two are developing the car. It's definitely the best looking on the grid, but unfortunately it's going to be at the back of the grid, fighting with that f***ing Sauber, so it's not looking good for them. In 8th, we've got Haas. As much as I want to see them in 1st place, 8th is probably the best they're going to do. They've got a new lineup with a very experienced driver and a pretty inexperienced driver, and so they probably won't be able to develop the car that much. Not to say that it's going to be a bad car though, because I think the midfield is going to be closer than ever this year. In 7th, I've got Aston Martin. Of course, there is Fernando Alonso, and he is going to carry. But then there is Lance Stroll. He's going to hold them back. The car is not looking great in testing. Yes, I know it's testing. It doesn't mean anything, but car's not looking great. Alonso is looking great. But Stroll is... yeah. Aston Martin have made a habit of being incapable of developing their car. Anytime they put a new upgrade on, it makes the performance get worse. So their stock car is going to keep them ahead of Haas, VCarb and Sauber, but it's also not going to put them any higher than 6th. They're going to finish 7th in the constructors. In 6th, I've put Williams. They've got a great lineup. Albon and Sainz are vastly experienced in F1. They're both pretty consistent drivers. And so long as Albon can keep his crashing down, because he almost won the Destructors Championship, I think they've got a great thing going. Sainz clearly is in on the project, and obviously Albon is, because who else is going to take him? But also this prediction is entirely based on testing, so undoubtedly it's going to blow up right in my face. Will they finish 6th? Probably not, but I have hopes for them. I have high hopes. I think it's going to be very close between 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. Alpine are in 5th. I think they're going to take on the role that Aston Martin have in the past 2 seasons. They're being not close enough to the front 4 teams, but also not very close to the teams at the back. They've got Pierre Gasly at the head of the team. He's driving in his 2nd prime and is definitely the best midfield driver. But then next to him, they've got Jack Doohan, who will probably be dropped after 5 races, and Colapinto, who will undoubtedly put it in the wall a few times. I think Gasly will do enough because the Alpine car was very good at the end of the year, and if Colapinto does get in the car, he is going to show pace, he is going to get points, and probably on a more regular basis than he would have in the Williams. I think Alpine are just going to become the new Aston Martin. I mean, that's what they used to be, and now they're back at that point. That is character development right there. In 4th, we have Mercedes. It's going to be similar to last year. Car was pretty mid apart from a few circuits, and they're going to need a lot of cold races if they want to actually do anything. Instead of having Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, one of the best driver pairings of 2024, you've now got a rookie, an 18-year-old rookie who has crashed a car in FP1 on his 2nd lap and is also carrying Felipe Nasr's number. So undoubtedly, they're going to do worse. They're not going to be that close to the top 3, but I mean, George Russell is a very good driver, so he's definitely going to carry them up the standings. In 3rd, it's going to be Red Bull because that's Verstappen tax. Verstappen won the championship last year with the 3rd best car. Yes, he had the fastest one for the first 4 races, but those 4 races really did a lot for his championship. He's driving at an incredible standard and has been for the past 4 years, and that's why he's a 4-time champion and the reigning champion. He's going to probably lose his number 1 this season, but Red Bull are going to finish 3rd once again because instead of Sergio Perez, they've now got Liam Lawson. Probably a similar standard, and the Red Bull car is nowhere near as good as Ferrari and McLaren. Talking about them, who is going to finish 2nd and who's going to finish 1st? I think it's going to be Ferrari in 2nd and McLaren in 1st because damn, the orange team is doing bits in testing. Yes, another testing prediction. They look quick. They were so quick last year. Lando didn't win the championship because he sucks. But this time around, they're going to have the best car from the first race and probably throughout the whole season. Therefore, they win. 2nd is Ferrari because, Leclerc is going to do well, But I mean, Norris and Piastri is a stronger lineup than Lewis, 40-year-old Lewis Hamilton, and Charles Leclerc. Alright, so now into the full driver standings. Get ready, because this is going to be 100% right. 20th place, Jack Doohan. This is heavily based on the fact that he is 90% confirmed to be getting dropped after 5 races, unless he gets a podium or maybe a win, maybe a pole position for the Alpine team. Yeah, unfortunately he's going to finish 20th, but I mean, I can't really put Colapinto here because, I mean, he's not going to start the season, so you never know, he might not even get the seat. In 19th, I'm putting Gabriel Bortoleto. Not a slight on his talent, because he is an undoubtedly talented driver. You don't just win F3 and F2 back to back without having some talent. He's going to be held back by the terrible car though, so someone has to finish 19th. It's going to be him, unfortunately. But like I said in the constructors, I do think it's going to be very close. I think all 20 drivers could score points this year. In 18th, I've got Isaac Hadjar. Once again, not a slight on his talent. He's a very good driver. You don't come second in F2 without a bit of talent, apart from if you're Nicholas Latifi. Unfortunately for Hadjar, he's going to be held back by the terrible car, and expect him to have a few major shunts and maybe even get banned for a few races because he swore on the radio. I feel like that's going to happen. In 17th, we got Lance Stroll. The drivers behind him are being held back by the shit car. This time, it's being held back because he's a shit driver. I really wanted to like Stroll, but I did say it when I reacted to my predictions last year. I defended him when no one else would. And now, or at least after Brazil, he's indefendable. He doesn't care as much as he did once upon a time. Remember, I love my job.
Early for Lance Stroll as well.
And so it makes sense that a demotivated Stroll plus a worse car, he's gonna finish 17th. In 16th, I got Nico Hulkenberg. Once again, not a slight on his talent. Someone has to finish 16th. Unfortunately, it's going to be him because he's going to be in a shit car. He'll have some standout races. He'll probably qualify in the top 10 while driving the tractor at the back of the grid. But it will be 16th for him, and probably another great year. It's going to be similar to 2023, I feel. In 15th, I've got Ollie Behrman. The Haas is going to be worse in 2025, and so because it's behind Williams and Aston Martin, and the fact that it's his first full season, he's going to be a bit behind in the standings, but that's not a slight on him. He's going to have some major standout races, maybe a few big mistakes, but it's all learning as we go into 2026, because, I mean, he's pretty much guaranteed to keep the seat in 2026. In 14th, I've got Yuki Tsunoda. I did say the V-car was going to be a pile of shit, and it will be, but Yuki Tsunoda has shown time and time again that he is a great driver. Just cast your mind back to 2023. That car was absolute shit in the first half of the season, yet Yuki still managed 3 10ths and also 3 11th places, and ended the season with 2 8ths and a 9th to cap off a very, very good year considering how bad the car was. He has shown himself in worse cars, and last year he got a good car and he performed very well. So I think it's going to be a similar story. He's not going to be as high up as he was last year, but 14th is probably the best place I can put him for car and driver. 13th, we have a riser, Alex Albon. He's going to have a very good season. The Williams is going to be better than last year. He's going to crash less. I'm going to say it, he's going to crash less. He's not going to beat Sainz, as you can tell, because he is behind him in the standings, but he'll definitely put up a decent fight. I think he'll finish 13th. I think that's fair for where Williams are going to be and where Albon is going to be come December. In 12th, we've got Esteban Ocon, rejuvenated Esteban Ocon. He's now out of the toxic Alpine team and in a new environment in Haas. We're probably going to see the best Ocon we've seen since his Force India days. That's a bold prediction because he was incredibly consistent. Haas are not in a similar position to Force India, but I do think Ocon is going to grab loads of points positions, maybe only 10ths and 9ths, but still points, and will be the experienced lead driver in the Haas team as they look for 2026. And hopefully he doesn't do what he loves to do and tries to kill his teammate. In 11th place, we've got Fernando Alonso. Once again, another really good driver, but he's just going to be in a terrible car. The Aston Martin will start off decently, but then will regress as the season goes on, and maybe by the end will be even worse than the Sauber. That's a bold prediction right there. But Alonso is Alonso, he does Alonso things, and he's going to finish 11th in the standings. So I think it's going to be a similar story once again, but this time he's going to be jumped by Gasly and another driver, because in 10th place, we've got Carlos Sainz. Yes, this is entirely based off of testing, and Williams, I think he set the fastest lap time in one of the days. But Carlos Sainz is a very good driver. He's proven himself in the midfield. That's how he got into the Ferrari, because he was a beast in the McLaren, he was a beast in the Renault, and he was also pretty decent in the Toro Rosso. The guy knows what it's like to fight in the midfield, and that's why he's joined Williams, not because no one else wanted him. In 9th place, we've got Gasly. Alpine are going to be the 5th best team, so it makes sense that Gasly will go 9th. He showed last season just how good he is, and he is a midfield maestro. And I think the Alpine's probably in a similar place now to where that AlphaTauri was in 2021. So we could be getting a repeat of Gasly 2021. I'm saying that fucking year too many times. He's in his second prime, so makes sense that he'll finish 9th and best of the rest. In 8th, we've got Kimi Antonelli. I think this is a pretty obvious one. Mercedes is going to be the 4th best team, so it makes sense that Antonelli is going to be the 8th best driver. It's his rookie year. Remember, 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure he was driving in like F4 cars, and now he's in a Mercedes seat. An insane rise for the baby center, or whatever we're calling him. He'll have a few crashes, he'll have a few mid moments, but it'll also show glimpses of promise, which I think is going to be what Mercedes need. They're not winning the Constructors in 2025, they just need their young star to grow. But yeah, Antonelli is going to be 8th, and in 7th it's going to be Liam Lawson. The Red Bull is going to be pretty bad, and so Lawson will be finishing 7th, just ahead of Antonelli. He's not going to have a bad year, but I think he'll still do better than Perez did, and so that will be a 7th place for Liam. He's not scared to beef with the big boys. Remember his Alonso feud and obviously his Perez feud. The guy is just pissed at everyone, and I love him for that. He's very aggressive, and he's not going to back down to anyone. In 6th place, we've got George Russell. He'll have a very good year. He might even grab another win, maybe a pole, Mr. Saturday. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty anonymous other than that. In 5th place, we've got Lewis Hamilton. It's a shame, I don't want to put him this low, but like, yeah, it's going to be very close in the top 5. That's my prediction for this year. It's going to be very, very close. If you look at the quality of these top 5 drivers and the cars that they're in, it makes a lot of sense, but Hamilton is unfortunately going to be the one that finishes at the back of them. He's obviously a bit more motivated now, he's rejuvenated, he's 40 years old, but I think he's still going to have a very good season. But in 4th place, the talent just keeps increasing. We got Max Verstappen. Shit card, no problem for Max Verstappen, but he's not going to win it this year. That's a very big shame, because he deserves better. But yeah, maybe in 2026 that'll be Red Bull's year. I highly doubt it, and it's going to be fun to see him at Mercedes in 2027 or something, I don't know. But yeah, Max Verstappen is 4th. In 3rd, we got Lando Norris. Yes, controversial. The guy I'm pretty sure topped a few days of testing, but I mean, we've seen him. He's a bottle job. Yes, he's now got the experience of having a title fight in quotation marks, but Piastri also showed him up at a few times last season, so I think we're gonna get a similar situation to 2007, if you can remember that. We had Kimi Raikkonen, Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, the 2 McLaren drivers and a Ferrari driver. The McLaren drivers were beefing with each other all season. Do you remember Hungary 2007? Alonso holding up Hamilton in the pits and not letting him do a full qualifying lap? Yeah, that's just going to happen in 2025, and Norris is going to finish behind Piastri because of it, and Piastri is going to finish 2nd because in 1st, we've got Charles Leclerc. He is going to capitalize on the McLarens fighting, and he's going to win the championship by 1 point. You've heard it here first. So now that you've seen my crystal ball, make your own predictions in the comments. I think I am 100% right. That's why I made these predictions. Alright, now we got some special categories. We've got most improved driver. I think this is going to be either Alex Albon or Esteban Ocon. Yes, Albon's already had one of his really good seasons in 2023, but I mean, last year wasn't great. I think the Williams will be better, and so Albon can be a bit more consistent in a better car. The biggest regressor, that is going to be Lance Stroll. I think this is a pretty obvious one. The closest teammates will be McLaren. Rookie of the year, I'm going to put Liam Lawson. Yes, he's in the best car, so he's obviously going to finish highest out of the rookies, but I do think he's going to show the most. Destructors champion, this is going to be Isaac Hadjar. I did originally have Lance Stroll, but I think Stroll's going to have a similar season to Nicholas Latifi in 2022. No pace, no crashes. If you're not going quick, how are you going to crash? I think Isaac Hadjar is a loose cannon. He's going to show incredible pace, but he's also going to be very prone to making mistakes. And now we move to the F2 and F3 champions. F2 champion, Ollie Goethe. Yes, I know I've kind of contradicted myself, but I'm just covering all the bases, you know? Ever since he first came into F3, he showed promise immediately. So I think he's going to be the F2 champion. It's his debut year. He didn't win F3, but I think he's got the best chance. He's in a decent team as well, backed by Red Bull. I could see it happening. And the F3 champion, I'm going to go Ugo Chukwu. It's his first season of F3, but honestly, I'm looking at the F3 grid and I'm thinking this isn't that strong because all the good drivers from last year have been picked up by F2 teams. I think Ugo Chukwu's got the biggest chance of actually winning this thing. He's in the team that won the Constructors last year. He's American as well. Maybe he wants the Cadillac seat, but yeah, I think he'll be our F3 champion for 2025. Come December when I react to this video, if I've got all 20 right, you have to subscribe. If not, dislike the shit out of it.